Mace really saw it. And the thing is, though, you know what? Forget it. We're gonna go back to animation because now that we bring up Mace, I feel like we can't skip over the Clone Wars because I want to talk about the Clone Wars in relation to the prequels and how in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, they show Anakin constantly, battling with the dark side. They never really show him ever being a good person. He's always kind of just being like, I'm trying to think of a way to say this without cursing, because I just want to call him an asshole. Like he almost always is just falling to the dark side. Every 5 seconds, he gets upset or angry and emotional. Whereas in the Clone Wars, they show him being a good person, and sometimes they show him a lot of time being level-headed. And then they also show him slowly sometimes getting, specifically the reason that he goes to the dark side is because of Padme. And they emphasize that in the show, like when he's away from Padme, he's usually perfectly level-headed and he's doing everything he can to do whatever he needs to do and get stuff done. But whenever he's around Padme in the show, that's when his emotions come out and he starts to get upset and angry and you really see the dark side coming out.
Yeah.
And I feel like, that's never shown in the movies. So most people, like you said, people feel weird about Padme and Anakin's romance in Attack of the Clones. That's because they don't have an example of him being a good person. They just see him being that horrible person that he is in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. And
he's horrible. He's whiny. He's bratty.
He's super whiny and bratty. Like his attempts at flirting with Padme come off super creepy every time.
Yeah.
They come off super creepy, and I see why people weren't a fan of Attack of the Clones because Anakin is kind of creepy and just whiny the entire time. And the Clone Wars, they make him seem like you're like, oh, I could see how a woman will fall in love with Anakin in the Clone Wars. I can see he's a great guy. They honestly, the reason literally 2 characters became my 2 favorite characters because of the Clone Wars cartoon. Ahsoka became my very favorite character, and Anakin became my second favorite Star Wars character because of the Clone Wars cartoon.
Okay.
They showed Anakin in a good light, a light that he's never shown in. He's a great person. Or he was until, Padme, he got the visions of her dying, and he's like, oh, I don't like this. I need to stop this. I need to stop this from happening. I like that. I really like what they do with Anakin in the Clone Wars. And I mean, they also focus on the clones a lot. Because the clones were just... They were just floating heads on CGI bodies. And you know what's funny? The clones have never not been CG. That's hilarious.
That is actually really funny.
The clones have literally... I don't think there's been clone armor in live action.
I'm pretty sure there were a couple of clones that weren't CGI, if I remember correctly.
I'm talking about
I could have that wrong, but I'm pretty sure a couple of them weren't CGI, but it's very few and far between.
Yeah, for the most part, they've been mostly CGI. They were CGI in the movies and they CGI in the cartoon. Clones have, for the most part, always been CGI. And rewatching these movies, I never realized exactly because I felt like I wasn't sure how much. I'm really mad that I forget names like this. I know Tamora Morrison because I want to mention Tamora Morrison, but what is the name of the voice actor that voices all of the clones and Appa and Momo? What is his name?
Well, I don't remember actually.
He voices so many. D. Bradley Baker. So
D. Bradley Baker.
I didn't realize how close the accent he was doing was actually to Tamora Morrison's because, like I said, I hadn't watched the prequel trilogy since I was a kid. So recently when I rewatched them was my first time watching them in a long time. So I was like, oh, okay, he does sound pretty much exactly like Tamora Morrison. Oh, I forgot to mention let me go back to my notes real quick because there's something I forgot to mention that involved the prequel trilogies. The Knights of Ren were like Boba Fett. They look cool. They could have been cool, but then they showed up on the screen for 5 seconds and got killed by one of the main characters. The Knights of Ren were the Boba Fett of the prequel trilogy.
And I love Boba Fett. Boba Fett's one of my favorite characters. Cool. Reading his comics and stuff,
he's cool.
He's awesome.
Everywhere except the movies.
Yeah.
Even in the show, he's just barely anybody.
Well, I really hope they change that. I do hope they change that.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Mandalorian actually shows us how cool Boba actually is. But yeah, the Knights of Ren were like Boba, because I feel like weren't they supposed to be like some of the people that were being trained by Luke that like Kylo.
There were rumors about that, but I don't think that was ever confirmed.
Yeah, see, look, I think that's another example of us giving those writers more credit than they actually needed. We were making it seem like they were doing these spectacular things. Like our fan theories were better than what actually happened. Like if they were actually some of the Padawan that became Sith and started working with Kylo, that would have been cool. And they could have had some cool fights with
Oh no, I do remember.
Oh, that would have made it even better. It would have made even more sense why they would need 2 Jedi in Finn and Rey if they were fighting 7 Jedi, Kylo, and the Knights of Ren. Then it's like, okay.
No, but you want to hear something?
And you got Luke.
You want to hear something even stupider?
That's just
you want to hear what makes it stupider?
Go ahead.
I completely forgot about this. I blanked on this. They're making the Ben Solo comics or whatever that take place in between episodes 6 and 7. The Knights of Ren weren't even Jedi. They were, if I'm remembering correctly, because I didn't read the Ben Solo comics because I'm not a big Kylo Ren fan. I wasn't looking to read those. The Knights of Ren were basically just like a weird force worshipping cult, and like their leader, the Ren or whoever he is, has a red lightsaber, and that's about it. Oh. Like that's literally what it was, and it's just like that's stupid. Like they were just a force worshipping cult. They weren't even like that cool. Like
I feel like I just blew my own mind with a great idea. Like they could have been force users. Like they could have been the Padawan that Kylo took with him, and it would have justified them having 2 Jedi Padawan with Luke, and then it would be Luke, Finn, and Rey against those 6, or maybe 7 if Kylo's there, and of course Luke would probably just fight 3 by himself. Why? While they try to fight the rest. But
I remember in between Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, there was like a leak or something with the script where like as soon as the Last Jedi starts, Luke is trying to train Rey on the island. I think this is like a YouTube video or something. Luke is trying to train Rey on Ahch-To or something, and then the Knights of Ren come down and attack them, and then Luke like kills like 3 or 4 of them on his own or something like that. I'm like, Yoda, that would have been cool, and then that didn't happen.
Yeah, if they showed,
just like, bro,
if they showed Luke just being a buck, that's another thing that I hate is that one. I think Luke, I wish he looked like he did in I don't know. I like the way he looks when he's wearing all black in that kind of like turtleneck like thing with the short hair. I kind of just wanted him to look like that because that's the image I think.
I like his design.
Whenever I think of Luke, I think of him in that black, in all black with the short hair.
I like Luke's design in The Last Jedi, and I think that's where, because I do, especially when he became Grand Master Luke Skywalker, that's a lot closer to what he wore, and I like that. That's about where my enjoyment of sequel trilogy Luke stops. Like I like his design. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But yeah. You have any more to say about Clone Wars? Or well, we can talk about Rebels as well. I forgot about that.
Oh, I love Rebels. Honestly, and I always get hate whenever I say this. I like Rebels more than I like Clone Wars.
I'm sorry. I just want to say, for me, I feel like it would.
Go ahead.
I don't think I'm gonna like it more than I like Clone Wars by the end, but I think it'll probably be close. And I think a reason why I potentially might is because it's just as good of a story in a shorter amount of time. And when something gets stretched out, you can sometimes stories get padded out when they get stretched out. And the first season of Clone Wars is it's more childish. The first season and the second season a little bit as well. And then Clone Wars slowly gets more mature as it goes along. And Rebels is pretty much going along the same path as far as I've gone. I actually haven't watched it since the last time I told you I was watching it because I was too busy. I don't even think I was watching anything. I was playing Spider-Man and I was watching Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. That's about it.
Okay. All right. The reason I like Rebels more. One, I like a lot of the characters a lot more. Like, clones are cool. I like the clones. But I also don't like the. Well, no, that's not true. I like Rex. I like Cody. I like Fives, even though Fives died.
R.I.P. 5.
Uh,
R.I.P. most of the clones.
Oh yeah, RIP like 90% of the clones.
Yeah, except
And I like Gregor.
R.I.P. every clone except Rex.
Oh, I like a lot of clones, but none of the clones to me are as interesting as any of the Jedi. Like even like no-name Jedi that have like tragic deaths have either really cool designs or like something that they're doing before they die that's really cool. There, I'm like, I want to know more about that Jedi than I do any of these clones. Like I don't care much about the clones. And then like the episodes that weren't focused on either clones or Jedi felt like what most people complain about with the Phantom Menace, where it's too political. Well, saying the words too political irritate me, but like it focused on politics. Like there's an entire episode where it's like Bail Organa is trying to like negotiate to get food and rations to a planet, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah, I feel like the thing about Clone Wars is that unlike the movies, like even though I watched it, I think I watched it on the anniversary of the Phantom Menace back in May. Is when I watched the last time I watched the Phantom Menace. Because I was watching it with a friend who'd never seen any of the Star Wars movies, and
okay.
I don't really remember any of the political stuff, honestly. Whenever I think of Phantom Menace, I just think of the ending fight scene and Duel of Fates. But
the thing people say about the politics is that
it's that political, because Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith aren't that political. So is the first movie more political than those two?
I feel like the thing about the politics in the movie, people will complain. The only real political scenes are Padme trying to ally with the Gungans so they can have protection against or so they can have the Gungan army help fight against the Separatists, and then Padme's stand-in when they go to Coruscant and they wind up getting Palpatine elected Chancellor from like emergency powers and stuff like that. And I don't even find any of that like boring or anything either, because it's just like they're not super long scenes, so it's like.
Yeah, I feel like in the political scenes in the prequels aren't really that lengthy. But
yeah, they're not.
On the Clone Wars, on the other hand, they have entire 30-minute episodes focused on it. And
yeah.
those, like you said, I'm not a fan of those episodes because it's Star Wars. Like, yeah, there are politics in this, and it's known for that at this point because of the prequels. But you never want to really focus on it too much. Like the prequels never focused on it too much. They just basically did it for exposition to let you know what's happening, and then they moved on. And having a whole episode about, like, I mean, I like Organa, but I didn't need a whole episode about it.
Yeah, I love Bail Organa. Bail Organa's cool, but like,
I didn't need a whole.
It's just like, the coolest parts of that episode.
I'll just say the coolest political episodes are the ones where it's like, Anakin and Obi-Wan are trying to protect Padme from something, like because she's like they're escorting either Padme or some other politician to some place to negotiate something. It's usually either Padme or Jar Jar.
I think that episode is Innocence of No, it's not Innocence of Ryloth. That's an Obi-Wan episode. The coolest parts of that episode in my eyes, because the backdrop of the episode is a Jedi and his platoon of clones are basically trying to protect this freedom fighter group of I'm trying not to say Rylothians because I feel like it's not the right word. These freedom fighter group on Ryloth, they're trying to protect them and keep moving them back and basically get them off planet, but they can't do it because they're running out of ammunition, they're running out of food, and they're running out of all this stuff. The Jedi, spoiler, well, we already said we're going to spoil everything. The Jedi and the clone and their clone troop, the clone platoon, die. Like, they all get killed by the end of the episode because they're sacrificing themselves trying to buy time for the freedom fighters to escape. And so Bail Organa, of course, because he's a master negotiator, winds up getting the food and supplies and ammo.
I remember that episode because I'm sitting here trying to remember. Yeah. I was like, "What?" I remember that episode. Yeah.
So by the end of the episode, they like get them off, but like the Jedi, the clone, and like the stuff on Ryloth has like out of a 22-minute episode has like 5 minutes of screen time, and the rest is Bail Organa trying to negotiate food and supplies. Yeah. I'm like, I want to see this Jedi and his clone platoon do what they do because they're cool. Like.
Yeah, but for me,
Jedi was awesome.
I love the clone so much. One of the I think the best clone episode was the one with the Jedi with the 4 arms. I don't know his name.
Pong Krell. So the Umbara. It's the Umbara arc.
Yeah, the Umbara arc is probably the best clone-focused arc. And
Everybody loves that arc.
like,
I'm one of
what I
the
love
few
about
people that doesn't like it.
what I love about Clone Wars is the way they tackle story arcs. And how they'll show different. They show it from different viewpoints. Like they'll have an episode about the clone troopers on the ground doing something, and then they'll have another episode about what Anakin and Obi-Wan were doing while the clone troopers were doing what they were doing, and then the next episode would be about all of them meeting up. And I like that. I like the way they show the way the wars and different battles throughout the war play out.
But
Grill.
oh, wait, go on.
I was about to say I'm trying to remember the name of that something beast. What was the name? The Grillo Beast or something like that?
Oh, the Rillo Beast?
The Rillo Beast.
I think it's the Rillo Beast.
I think it's the Rillo Beast, yeah. I kind of want to see that in Mandalorian. I know that was supposed to be the last one, but I wouldn't be surprised if they cloned it. And I kind of...
Well, that wasn't that the thing, though? Was at the end of the arc, Palpatine was trying to get the scientists to
clone it
either clone it or, figure out its armor or something like that, or, the scales, and she was like, we can't do it without killing it.
Yeah, they were doing experiments on it, and I would like for them to have succeeded. And I just want to see the Rillo Beast in the Mandalorian. Mostly because I saw the Krayt Dragon. I was like, the moment I saw the Krayt Dragon, I was like, you know what else would be cool? The Rillo Beast. Immediately.
But the Rillo Beast isn't dead, though. That's the thing. I don't think it's dead. I think it's still alive, because at the end of it's been a while since I've seen the episode, but I can almost remember at the end of the episode, the biggest contention being that the scientist was like, if we were to study if we were to make the scales, or figure out, the scales and stuff like that, to make indestructible armor, lightsaber-proof armor, it would kill the beast. And Palpatine was like, we'll do it anyway. So, the beast might still be alive. But I remember it still being alive at the end, because that was, the biggest contention, was the scientists didn't want to kill it.
Yeah, the whole point was them trying, not to kill it. But yeah, it would be cool if it was, like you said, it's alive. So if it was just, on some planet, and, Mandalorian went to the planet, and he, ends up... I don't want him to kill it, because after they went through all of that to keep it alive, I don't want Din Djarin to just come in and ruin all of that and murder the Rillo Beast, but I want him to just fight it a little bit, and then maybe they become friends, and then he leaves. I just want to see what it would look like in live action. Maybe I just need to make a 3D model when I get good, and because I just kind of just want to see it in live action, honestly.
One thing. Oh, I completely forgot we were talking about Rebels.
You're talking about Rebels and why you like it more than Clone Wars.
I like Rebels more than Clone Wars because, one, I find the entire main cast interesting and compelling. I don't find the entire... Well, I mean, Clone Wars doesn't have much of a main cast aside from Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and Rex.
Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Rex were, the main, technically.
Yeah.
And then...
I mean, I find all of them interesting. I like all of them, but, their entire episode's dedicated to random characters. I don't think there's a single episode in Rebels that's dedicated to a character that's not part of the original cast. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to go back and watch and actually take notes on it. What'd you say?
I was saying that's also what I like about Clone Wars, how they focus on characters that aren't part of the main. They'll have episodes focused on Asajj.
Adventures is also really cool. I really like Ventures.
Adventures is great.
Ventures is great. She deserved better than what she got. Her death is...
The Night Sisters all around were interesting. And that's another thing. That's another, I feel like, unutilized thing within the Star Wars universe. The idea that the Force isn't just how the Jedi and Sith use it. There are different aspects of the Force, and that I feel like I would love for them to explore that a bit more. I hope they do that a little bit in because I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna make a sequel to Fallen Order. And
they've already been talking about it. That's already been announced.
It would be cool if we get to play as the Night Sister. She was like
as Marin.
Yeah, Marin was cool. I like Marin.
Marin was awesome. Yeah.
The Night Sister, just the nicest, and using the Force in ways that the Jedi and Sith don't use them is cool. Using it to bring people back to life and turn them into zombies.
Yeah. And
just the idea the Force is a power that, as long as it's done right, you could literally make anything up and it would be pretty cool. I don't want them to go too far with it and make it ridiculous, but I do want them to kind of just use the Force for a few different things. Example, I feel like, how, people weren't the biggest fan of Yoda using a lightsaber because they wanted him to just be kind of use the Force basically when he fights. I feel like a cool way to do that and still have him use a lightsaber, because I wasn't that mad at him using a lightsaber. Like I said,
I thought him using a lightsaber was awesome. I was like, oh.
Like I was saying, I just don't like the flips too much, but I understand why he flips. And when it comes to Yoda, I'm more understanding of Yoda flipping because he's small. Of course, he has to jump up.
He has to get up there. Yeah.
I feel like it would have been cooler if the way he used his lightsaber was using the Force. So he didn't jump, he didn't flip. He literally just stood there and used the Force to control the lightsaber. That would have been so cool. You know how cool that would have been, bro?
In the game that you refused to play, Knights of the Old Republic, in the second one, that's one of the people in the party.
It's a bad game. It's like I said, it's too outdated for me, and I don't like RPGs. And I definitely
the game you refuse to play has that exact thing in it.
I already told you, if they make a sequel, I will play it. But here's what I want them to do. If they were to remake it, I would play it. If they remade those first two games, I would play them. There's a rumor that Blue Point, the people that did the
yeah, they're supposed to be remaking it.
There's a rumor that they might be remaking Metal Gear, which
I heard they were remaking Knights of the Old Republic,
which is like my biggest like wish for a remake ever is the very first Metal Gear game. Not Metal Gear.
I feel like we've talked about that before.
Metal Gear Solid, we definitely have. But anyway, I feel like we keep digressing from you talking about Rebels, but I still haven't finished it because even though I do know some of what happens, I feel like I want to leave some of the stuff that I don't remember a surprise though. So I feel like this is the one thing I don't want spoiled because I'm still, even though I low key know a lot of what happens, there's some stuff that I might still be surprised by. So I want to keep that a surprise. The Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars was cool.
I did like it.
His animation style in general was just super dope. You wouldn't think that he made Hotel Transylvania. You wouldn't think that he's the director of those three movies. If you watch Samurai Jack and Clone Wars and Dexter's Laboratory. But
yeah, I was gonna say he made Samurai Jack too.
Yeah, I love Samurai Jack so much. That fifth season, it's perfect. But the fight scenes, like he tells stories through action. He barely uses words. He always tells it through action, and that's basically just what Clone Wars. The first animated series was it was just pure action, and Mace Windu was a boss in that animated series. He ran through all of those droids like they were nothing. And the coolest part for me was, and I think we need to see this more with Jedi, is a Jedi fighting without a lightsaber and kind of just using the Force in combination with martial arts like Mace Windu was. That was so cool. Because naturally, he wouldn't be able to just punch through a robot by himself.
It's the Force. Yeah, it's an assisted Force.
He's using the Force to not just pull them apart and throw them around, but you literally like strengthen his punches. And I feel like that's another thing of like the Force doing something interesting. Like the Force is an interesting tool that I feel like doesn't get used in interesting ways all the time. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the people working on Star Wars shows sometimes just aren't creative enough when it comes to the use of the Force. Because I feel like sometimes they want to stray away from the Force because they don't want to use it too much. But in doing that, they use it too little.
That's another thing I really like about Rebels. Rebels really delves into the Force and the mysteries of the Force, and like you see Palpatine.
No, go ahead. I don't care.
Okay, you see Palpatine using Force sorcery and like dark side sorcery. You see time travel in a sense.
Yeah.
You see.
I love the Force is literally like we talked about it before. It's like God. It could do anything if you use it right.
Yes. It like there's an entire Force like world where like time, like you're able to see moments in time and interact with them. That's how Ezra winds up saving Ahsoka and like he was about to save Kanan, and it's just like all this stuff is like it really delves into the Force. Like it shows you so much about the Force. That's one of the things I also like about Rebels. This is another reason I love Rebels. I love Rebels a lot. I really do. I also love how Rebels has a more cohesive narrative than the Clone Wars, because the Clone Wars would just jump around. So moments that are supposed to be felt just fell flat for me. I'm like, I don't care about what's going on.
But yeah,
Like,